Hello and welcome to Longevity with Light. I'm your host, Lesley Klein, and I'm so excited about this new light technology that I have been wearing for now one whole year. And I've seen excellent results in my skin and my energy. And this month, we are going to be exploring the powerful combination of X39, Aeon, and Glutathione, which is what we call in the industry the terrific trio. So, our special guest tonight is Dr. Don VerHulst. He is an MD. He's also an ordained minister, an educator, and physician who hosted the internationally syndicated television show called Hope for Your Health. He did this for 10 years. But before we get to Dr. Don, I'm going to introduce you to my co-host. We actually have some comments, so I want to bring some comments, our viewers. So if you're watching from wherever you're watching, you can actually comment and we can put your comments on the screen. And I want to do that right now. So we've got Mary. Mary, I'm not sure how to say your last name. So Mary, she's from Sudbury, Ontario, and she's looking forward to the presentation. We also have Nikki Bissonette. She's saying hello from North Bay. That's Canada as well. And then we have Lynn Seminato saying hello from Sudbury, Ontario. So as these ladies have, you can also put your comments, put your questions. We've got excellent guests tonight. Everyone loves Dr. Don. So as I said, let me introduce you to my co-hosts. I've got longevity consultant, Thomesa Lydon with us. Hey, Thomesa.
Hello.
And Beth Steil, who is a LifeWave executive director, although we know that has changed. But she's with LifeWave and she's been with LifeWave longer than I have. So I'm going to ask Thomesa if you would read the disclaimer.
Oh, I will happily do that. LifeWave products are not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure or prevent any disease. The information we provide is for educational purposes only and should not be considered medical advice. We are not your doctor and we are not doctors. So individual results may vary. Consult your healthcare professional before using any LifeWave products, especially if you have medical conditions or you are taking medications.
Thank you. So, Dr. Don VerHulst earned his bachelor's degree at the University of Michigan and his MD at Wayne State University School of Medicine. He embraces a naturopathic philosophy and has dedicated his life to teaching preventative wellness and is the author of 5 books. He lives in Western Michigan and with his wife, Susan, and their 4 grown children. So please welcome Dr. Don. So good to see you, Dr. Don.
Thank you.
Love you, Dr. Don.
Good to see you, Lesley and Thomesa and Beth. I've known Beth for a little while now, and I'm so excited to share with you about what I know is the most impressive breakthrough in medicine, both traditional, which I was trained as an MD, and naturopathic medicine, natural alternatives, which is what I do every day. I teach people how to get off pharmaceuticals when it's possible, when it's prudent. It's not always possible, but most of the time it is. So I've been doing that for 40 years, and I've seen a lot of things come along. And I'll just tell you my story about patching is about 3 years ago, my wife came to me actually, and we're very excited because good friends of ours that we've known very well for many years. In fact, he's a physician too, does natural alternatives. They had such success. They started wearing patches. Her carpal tunnel syndrome went away. His high blood pressure was balanced. And those are things that we had worked on with them for a long, long time. In just a few months, they were having tremendous success. And then my wife saw some of the before and after pictures, which can be quite dramatic because there can be some really quickly effective things on certain people in the skin that happen. And so she said, we've got to start using these patches. And I said to her, Susan, I am not going to tell people to put a sticker on them and it'll heal them. I was born at night, but not last night. I was not an early adopter. I didn't believe it. It sounded crazy to me. It sounded like no science to it at all. Well, she said there's clinical studies where you look at them. And I agreed to do that, but I didn't agree to do it to see if the patches were legit. I did it to prove to her I wasn't getting involved with this gimmick. Well, when I looked at those studies, I found out there were over 80 clinical studies that were double-blind, placebo-controlled. That's very important. But they were independent, not done by LifeWave, the company that makes the patches. Some of them were done at the #2 stem cell research facility in the world, in the University of Ireland. But most impressive to me was many of them were peer reviewed. That means you do your study, you make your conclusion, you turn it over to equally qualified colleagues and say, is my study valid? So at the end of looking at that, I knew the patches worked. And then my concern was, which I was surprised about, but my concern was, is it safe? And then I was told it's non-transdermal, which I didn't know what that was. Patches to me were like an estrogen patch for hormone balancing or a nicotine patch for stopping smoking, where the chemicals in the patch, you put it on your body and the chemicals go in. This is non-transdermal, and it didn't make sense to me. Why would you put a patch on the skin if it's non-transdermal? Well, it's a different mechanism. How it works is it simply uses your body as the energy source, the battery, if you will, your body's infrared, your 98.6, your heat energy, to activate the center of this patch, which is organic amino acids and electrolytes in a microcrystalline stereoisomer. What that means is when infrared hits that, it makes a very specific wavelength of light. And that wavelength is what's clinically studied to do what it does in your body. In the case of the X39 stem cell activating patch, which is the most important patch of the terrific trio, it increases a signaling molecule called GHK copper peptide. That's a 3 amino acid protein with copper hooked to it. And that X39 increases stem cell activity. Now, there's a 20-year global patent on this patch. That means you're not going to find it anywhere else. We're about 4 years into that. So for the next 15 or 16 years, if you hear somebody's talking about, stem cell activation with drops or wands or whatever it might be, just ask for the studies. I don't think they'll have them. We have those studies, and this is the only place you're going to get it. So what does it really mean? Well, I'm going to share a lot of things with you tonight, but the only two things you really need to know to get started using these patches and share with others, because the more people you share with, the more people you help and the more it helps you. But and truly, it's the greatest breakthrough I've ever seen, helping more people now than I ever have in 40 years of doing what I'm doing. But the two things you need to know is, number one, what is a stem cell? A stem cell is simply a cell that can become anything your body needs. If you need help in the cardiovascular area, a stem cell can become a heart muscle cell. It can become an endothelial cell lining the blood vessels. It can become a brain cell, an immune cell, a skin cell, a bone cell, liver, lung cell, wherever you need the help, it can become that. And this has been going on your whole life. It's how your body rejuvenates itself. But here's what most people do not know. By the time you're 35, you have lost 50% of your stem cell activity. And by the time you're 65, you have lost 90% of your stem cell activity. And now there's a safe, effective, extremely affordable way to wake up those stem cells. And that's really what this system, the terrific trio, is all about. It starts with the X39 stem cell activating patch. Now, we have a study that shows within the first 24 hours of putting on the X39 stem cell activating patch, you are communicating with 4,100 of your 18,000 genes to express at a healthier, more youthful level. That's amazing, even at a genetic level. There's another study that shows every 6 weeks you wear that patch, reverse ages your cardiovascular system, your heart and blood vessels, by 8 weeks. Even if that's all it did, it'd be worth getting this patch and using it. Now, when I start people, I always start them with what I call the dynamic duo, X39 and then Aeon, which is the second most important patch, I believe. It's an anti-inflammatory patch. And of course, inflammation is an enemy of your health. Inflammation causes or promotes every kind of sickness and disease, including the big killers: cancer, heart disease, diabetes, arthritis, the big problems that people are having. So keeping inflammation down is a great idea. But it's extremely important when you're wearing the X39 stem cell activating patch, waking up stem cells, because this is smart technology. What do I mean by that? When you wake up stem cells, they go where the action is in your body and work on the most important thing first. Then they go to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. Well, you have 100 trillion cells. At any given time, tens of thousands of those are having problems and errors that are being corrected. And we have an autocorrect system built into our body, including the immune system, which is keeping up with those changes. Because as we get older, it's not as efficient. But when you wake up stem cells, they go where the action is, and where the action is where the inflammation is. So some of them get used up fighting the inflammation. So we found if you wear this dynamic duo, X39 and Aeon together, you get quicker and better results. Now, personally, I believe when you start, and you can start with just the X39, but I highly recommend you add the Aeon to it to get quicker and better results. And then I'll also highly recommend you'll add the third patch of the terrific trio, which is glutathione. Why? Because it is our detoxification patch. What does that mean? Well, you face 5,000 toxins in the air we breathe, the food we eat, the water we drink, and all of those things the liver processes, and it's a constant fight. And if you have a sickness and disease, there's even more the liver's doing. If you're taking medicines, over the counter or pharmaceuticals, there's even more there. Your liver needs support. And this glutathione patch increases the amount of glutathione that your liver makes. Now, the glutathione actually restores and rejuvenates the vitamin C and vitamin E that are essential nutrients in your diet. You can't make those, that's why they're essential, but you can make glutathione, but you don't make it as well as you used to. And this patch has been shown to increase glutathione levels up to 300%. And the effect lasts for 24 hours, and you're wearing that patch 12 hours on, 12 hours off. So you're getting a consistent 300% increase in glutathione levels. And that's all you do is peel off the back of these patches, put them on your body, wear them for 12 hours activation, take them off and throw it away. It's basically used up, although there's enough energy for a dog or cat. It works on them as well. And then put it on the next day. It's not dangerous if you forget and don't take your patch off and leave it on too long, but you don't want to do that too many days in a row or your body can get lazy. We want 100% benefit. That's why we wear it 12 hours on, 12 hours off. I could tell you so many stories. When we first started wearing them, my wife immediately got free from a rotator cuff injury that she had many years, and then didn't have to wear her brace for plantar fasciitis that she had been wearing for 10 years. And I didn't notice anything right away. About 5 weeks in, I said, Susan, I don't notice anything significant. Doesn't mean the patches aren't working. They're certainly working. But you don't necessarily feel it, just like you don't feel your blood pressure or blood sugar changing, but they've changed since I've been talking to you. But she said, well, you're not getting up 2 or 3 times a night and waking me up at night to use the restroom. Because I'm 69 years old. I was 66 when I started patching. And if you know, if you're in my age category, or even a decade or 2 decades before that, men start having to do that, get up at night because of prostate issues. And it's been 3 years now. I have not had to do that. I don't have to fluid restrict before I go to bed. I literally am back to the way I was feeling when I was in my 40s. What I really noticed was the exercise improvement. I'm very specific about what I do exercise, and I know how it makes me feel and how the recovery is. I didn't get tired at the end of exercising. So I doubled what I was doing. I went from 3 days to 5 days to 7 days, and then doubled the amount of exercise. No deficit. I wasn't even tired, which was amazing. But personally, I got my best results in months 9 through 12, which usually the patches they're designed to be used 1 month for every decade of life, but I didn't quit using them, and I'm glad I didn't after the 7th month. But I used them 9 to 12. I experienced a balancing of my neurotransmitters in my brain, because for 30 years, I have struggled with serious clinical depression. Once or twice a year, it would hit me like a ton of bricks, and it's horrible. But I experienced that balancing, and for the last 2 years, I've had none, not even a small, slight symptom of that. It's been a major change for me. And I could tell you about so many experiences that I've had with people I've personally been patching. But the important thing is get the patches on. The average person takes about 3 to 6 weeks to notice something. I'd say most commonly people notice sleeping better energy levels, general sense of well-being, clearer, more focused thinking, less pain and inflammation, very common things, but not, sometimes it's 10% of people before the 3 to 6 weeks. We call them one patch wonders, 1 week, 1 month. But some people take up to a month for every decade of life, or even sometimes a little longer to notice, but the patches are still working. So they are definitely safe, no chemicals involved. They won't interfere with any pharmaceuticals you're on, over-the-counter medications, vitamins, minerals, herbs, any of those things don't interfere with this, because this is light therapy. It is the exact same thing as the sunlight hitting your skin and making vitamin D. But in this case, it's a specific wavelength of light that is clinically studied to make a tremendous difference. So it's safe, it's affordable, it's effective. Only $3 a day for the X39 patch, $2 a day for each of the supportive patches, the Aeon and the Glutathione. So you're looking at a $7 a day commitment for the next couple of months. It is absolutely life-changing. I've never used anything as effective as this. And I've written several books on longevity, as was mentioned, I think earlier, including this book, Do This and Live Healthy, 10 Keys That Cure. I've been teaching people for 40 years these 10 pillars of health, which are learn to relax, get to bed on time, and do your exercise, breathe fresh air when the sun's out there, and eat like this little rhyme, fruits and vegetables, whole grains, white if you choose meat, drink what you're mostly made of, water makes your health complete. These are the 10 keys that cure. That's what my books are about. Those are important things. But now we have another tool in our tool belt that works with all of these 10 keys, that works with your body to get and stay healthy, that will not only add years to your life, but life to your years. Definitely, if you want to reverse aging, even slow down the progression of sickness and disease, and in some cases reverse it, it's your body doing it, not the patches. As we said, we don't make medical claims for patches. We don't diagnose or treat sickness and disease, but we do know that this patch supports your body's ability to get and stay healthy. So I recommend getting on the Terrific Trio as quickly as you can. It's simple, it's affordable, it's effective, it's life-changing. I just wish we had more time to go into more testimonies on so many things that it's helping your body to do. But just remember, a stem cell is a cell that can do anything, turn into any kind of cell your body needs. And by the time you're 35, you've lost 50%. By the time you're 65, you've lost 90% of that activity. And now there's a safe, effective, very affordable way to reverse that and to rejuvenate what's already been going on in your body your whole life. It's nothing new. It's just turning back the hands of time. What do you got to lose? Nothing. You've got a lot to gain. So I'd highly recommend that you look into it, get back to the person who invited you on this and say, I need these patches. I need to get this Terrific Trio on as quickly as I can. So with that, Lesley, I'll turn it back to you. If we have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Yeah, one question is, when do you wear the patches, like X39, like daytime, nighttime?
Yeah, good question. Some patches, it doesn't matter. With the X39, I would only wear that in the day because it's going to give energy eventually, if not right away. And you don't want energy when you sleep. The Aeon patch can be worn day or night. And another thing that Aeon does, besides anti-inflammatory is balances or supports the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the resting, restoration, healing versus the sympathetic fight or flight. So if people deal with anxiety, mood disorders, I ask them, when is it worse? Is it worse in the day? Wear it with your X39 in the day. If it's worse at night, wear it at night. You can wear it either time. And that patch, by the way, I've personally seen people, we normally wear that an inch below the belly button because that's where the clinical studies were done, whereas the X39 is worn on the back of the neck where the clinical studies were done. But with that Aeon patch, if you can target the area that you're trying to help, you can move that patch and wear it in a different area. I guess I would wear the Alavita and the Silent Night patch, of course, at night. Otherwise, and carnosine can be worn day or night as well, and glutathione as well. Although David Schmidt, the inventor, says sometimes people do better with the glutathione during the day because it is a detox patch. When you first start wearing it, you may get some detox things happening in your body, which are good things. That doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It means your body's moving things out. Call it a healing crisis. So that one you might want to wear during the day as well. Other than that, it's not critical when you wear the patches day or night.
Okay, good. That answers my question. Thomesa or Beth, did you have a question for Dr. Don? Go ahead, Thomesa.
I do have a question. I know I've heard you speak before, and you talked about the terrific trio and talked about how people use it if they have knee issues and they have X39 on one side, Aeon on the other, and glutathione like below the knee or something like that. So is that placement of that, can that be like maybe if someone has a shoulder issue that they place those three in a certain location? That makes the difference.
Yeah, good question. The patches will work. Any patch will work anywhere on the body as long as you've got your 98.6, your infrared heat coming out of your body, which everywhere you've got skin, the skin's alive and it's giving off infrared. If you peel off the back of the patch and get within 1.25 inches of your body, it's working. And it works omnidirectional, by the way. If you don't want to put it on your skin, you could put it on your collar, turn it the other way around, or inside your belt. It'll work the same way. So that's how it's working. But as far as patch placement, it's never a problem. I wear my X39 on the back of my neck because the clinical studies were done there, but that patch will work anywhere. And the Aeon, I wear 1 inch below my belly button, although for a while I had a little trouble with the shoulder and I started wearing it there until that was taken care of and went back to beneath the belly button. Now, your glutathione patch, you can wear either place, right below your X39, below your Aeon in the belly. I wear it right over my liver, right below my right rib cage, but mainly because then I know what patch I have on, because that's why it's there. But it'll work anywhere. Now, if you have a knee issue and you want to concentrate on that area, there's nothing wrong with putting all three right in that area. They'll still work perfectly well. I mean, you got to kind of watch the knee. If you went right over the front of the knee where the skin's bending, it might, the patch itself might have a tendency to come off, but it doesn't matter. You can try that. But I've had personally, with my experience, and as I said, I've probably patched over 1,000 people. The Aeon patch is the one that really, when you target the area, I've seen a lot of, like, for example, people wear this Aeon 1 inch below their belly button. And a good friend of mine was wearing it for 6 months, and he still had a elbow issue, and he couldn't even lift up a cup of coffee. He'd had it for like 15 years. And my wife thought of it. She said, well, why don't you take your Aeon and put it on that elbow? And at the time, we weren't really doing that. He did that a week later. It was actually the next day he started wearing it, and it's gone, and it's still gone. So we've had particular success with putting that Aeon to target an area. But as I say, any patch will work anywhere. But if you want to focus on a certain area, absolutely, you can put all three of them, and you can try different ways of putting them. There's no real, secret way to doing that. The important thing is to wear the patches consistently. That's so important. Like, I know some of the early literature from the company, because this company is not new. It's been around 21 years. And in the glutathione literature, they said wear it every other day, because they were concerned about detoxing or whatever. But if you wear that patch every other day, it can take 3 to 5 times longer to be effective. You need to wear that patch every day. You need to wear every patch 7 days a week to get the best benefit. And location, you can try different things, but just the main thing is get the patch on your skin. So I guess that's a long answer to a simple question, Thomesa.
No, that's a great question, a great answer. And just before I turn it over to Beth to see if she has any questions, how important is drinking water to this whole effect?
It is
That was my
extremely.
question.
Yeah, that's good. That's a great
Why
question.
is it so important?
It's one of my 10 keys, drink what you're mostly made of. Water makes your health complete. Your goal is to drink half of your body's weight in pounds and ounces of water every day, because that's just good for your health. Your body's 75% water. Your blood is 90% water. Your brain is 80% water. You need to stay hydrated. A lot of people aren't sick. They're just thirsty. Dehydration is an enemy of your health. But all the things that the patches do in your body, whether it be stem cell activation, increasing glutathione formation, keeping inflammation down, requires water. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're dehydrated, patches will work, but they'll work better if you're hydrated. And if you're dehydrated, you need to use patches more than if you're not. Same way with exercise. Exercise, if you're not an exerciser, you're sedentary, as we say, it takes approximately 24 hours to move immune fluids once through your body in a 24-hour period. Now, if you just walk 30 minutes a day for 5 to 7 days a week, you move those same immune fluids 3 to 5 times through your body, because that's a passive system, the immune system. It takes muscle movement. If you move it, you'll improve it. So to be 3 to 5 times healthier, yes, move your body. Now, patches will work if you're not an exerciser, and you need them even more if you're sedentary and you don't exercise, but they'll work better if you just take that walk 5 to 7 days a week.
Thank you.
That's good advice.
We do have a question from one of our viewers. Lynn wants to know, what about the IceWave patch? So I don't know if she means time of day to wear it or what, but go ahead and talk about that.
I'm happy for this question, because IceWave is a unique patch, different than all the other patches. All the other patches that I've been talking about, the terrific trio, they are targeting the cause of the problem, which is extremely important. IceWave's a little different. It simply interferes with pain signaling in your body. It's a 2-patch system, like a battery has positive and negative, and your brain, actually your body tells your brain you're in pain, and there's those impulses going. And what these patches do is interfere with that signaling in a non-chemical way. It's like a natural, totally natural, chemical-free version of aspirin, ibuprofen, Tylenol, or God forbid the opioids, oxycodone or morphine or things like that, the opioids. So it's a natural way that interferes with pain signaling. The key to that patch is placement. When you get the placement right, it'll happen immediately, and that's what makes it different than the other patches. The other patches, as I said, the average person, 3 to 6 weeks, not IceWave. IceWave can happen in 3 to 6 seconds or 3 to 6 minutes. You put the dark patch right on the point of maximum pain, and I do the clock method. I start at 12 o'clock. I actually take the only half off of the white patch, and I hold it on top and say, did that change the pain? What's your level of pain? It's a 6 or a 7 or a 10 or whatever it is. And then I move it around. If there's no change, I keep moving it. And you might move it to any place on the body, and all of a sudden it'll happen, and they'll go, wow, how'd you do that? And that's where you peel it off, wear it for 12 hours on and off, just like the other ones. So it's an immediate patch. It's an attention getter because it happens right away. And I learned this. I taught biochemistry at the University of Michigan before I went to Wayne State Medical School. And so I'm really into biochemistry. But I didn't know that bioelectrics control the biochemistry in your body. I wasn't taught about bioelectrics, but boy, am I learning about it now and taking advantage of it. And that's exactly what you're doing when you're using the terrific trio or the IceWave, which is pain management. Now, the IceWave doesn't necessarily correct the cause of the pain, but you're wearing your X39 and Aeon and Glutathione. They're working on the cause. But I'd rather have you out of pain than in pain, of course. So, and that's my big criticism with pharmaceuticals, which I was trained in as an MD. They're really good at covering symptoms, but they ignore the cause of the problem, sometimes make the cause of the problem worse. So I definitely think that there's a better approach, and these patches are addressing the cause of the problem. But LifeWave's a little different in that sense, but it'll keep you symptom free. So I hope that answers the question.
A really quick question, piggybacking on the IceWave. Is it also 12 hours on, 12 hours off, or leave it on until your pain comes back?
No, it's 12 hours on, 12 hours off, because once again, we don't want the body to acclimate to that. It won't hurt you if you leave it on longer than that, but you want to take it off. So when you put it back on the next time, it'll be fully 100% effective again. But it may not work in the exact same position again. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it just works every time you put it the same way, and that's fine. If it doesn't, you got to move that other patch. You put the dark patch right at point of maximum pain, and then you move the other patch and see what you've got to do with that one.
Okay.
So we have another. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I just think clock method is like literally, of course, 12, 6, 3, when you move it around, like about 3 inches from the tan one.
Yes. And I peel back half of the other patch off, not sticking it on, but just hold it there for just a few seconds. Few seconds. People are amazed because they go, how'd you do that? And sometimes you go around the clock a couple of times, you get a little bigger, and then all of a sudden you might end up on the big toe, and it's like, wow. So don't give up. It works. If you just need to interfere with that pain signaling.
Play with it.
There's a question from Leanne asking, is this recorded? Yes, it is. And you can go to Good Vibes TV and you'll see the replay, or you'll get actually if you registered, then you'll get an email with that link. But she says she has a friend whose sister was just diagnosed with liver cancer and they have her on oxycodone. I know you can't really give medical advice, so I'm not sure how you want to answer that question, if you can.
I'm happy to answer that. And, I'll just tell you about a guy I was talking to 2 days ago who's been severe pain. He's been on oxy for 16 years, and he put the IceWave on, and in 5 seconds his pain went away. He was just overwhelmed. He couldn't even believe it. Yeah. So that it definitely works in that sense. But as far as liver cancer, of course we don't treat cancer, and we're not saying patches treat cancer, but we've got lots of testimonies with people up to stage 4 cancer, which is basically when it's spread through the whole body and there's no hope on the traditional medical side to do it, having great success with patches. We can't guarantee that, but you have a cell in your body called a T4 killer cell that eats cancer. That's its job. It's like that old Pac-Man game, goes around, sees a cancer or a benign tumor, an abnormal growth, and eats it. That's happening in all of us, every one of us, every day. When someone gets diagnosed with cancer is when they're not keeping up with that. And it can be a number of reasons. They can be toxic, they can be nutrient deficient, they can be stressed out, not sleeping enough, back to the 10 keys kind of a thing. So what do? The Triumphant Trio, for sure. If you've got any kind of growth in your body, or you don't want to get a growth in your body, that's me. I don't have a growth, but I don't want one. So I got my X39 here, my Aeon here, and my glutathione over my liver puts a quiver in my liver.
I was waiting for that. You didn't say it, I was gonna.
So we have another question from our viewers. Jerry's asking, can you use IceWave without the other 2 patches?
You certainly can, and it's a great attention getter. If people are a little skeptical, and I get that, if people are skeptical, I think they're, you're in good company there. I didn't believe it. It sounded crazy to me. But if I was in pain and somebody put something on me and it took the pain away, that's an attention getter. Yes, it'll work alone without any other patches. However, you want to correct the cause, not just deal with the symptom. And you do that mostly with X39 and Aeon, but also glutathione. There's really the glutathione, the detox patch, there's no health condition that doesn't have a toxic component. And your overall toxic load on your body is so important to keep down. And that's what that glutathione can do. Even if you don't have anything going on, you don't want things to go on, and you want to reverse aging. So that's really what the Terrific Trio is designed to do, in my opinion.
Let's go with one last question. Lynn's asking, how about putting IceWave under your feet.
Yes. Here's how I use LifeWave with people. I ask where the pain is. If they have a specific place, then you put the dark patch right there, whatever the spot may be, and then you move the light one around it. If their pain is in general over whole body, you can do it on the right, white on right, and the dark one under your foot on the bottom, or right on the shoulder, right in front, and here. If someone has low back pain, for example, they could put the right at the lumbar area down at your lower back, the white on right and the dark one on the other side. So kind of depending on what it is. But yeah, the feet are good. If it's just whole body pain, it's a great way to approach it.
Okay, great. Beth, did you have one last thing to say?
Yeah, really quick, because the glutathione is such a powerful detox, do you ever recommend someone who may be in really poor health, hasn't been hydrating, has a lot of issues, do you ever recommend wearing X39 and Aeon for a few months before adding it, just so there's not?
I have done that in the past. That's what I always did. But here's the thing. It's the only one I've ever seen a healing crisis with or a detox reaction is the glutathione patch. However, that means, and people may not even know what that is, it might come in the form of a headache. It might just be fatigue. It might be nausea. You just don't kind of feel fatigue, those kinds of, or a rash or something like that. However, what do you do about that? Well, the kind of person I am, I just push through it. I'm going to still wear that every day, and I'm just going to get through it as quick as I can. But what I tell people to do is skip a day, skip one day, put it on the next day. 90% of people, that takes care of it. Maybe 10% of people might have to do it every other day for a couple days or a week at most. I've never had anybody have to go longer than that. But there's no need to wait 2 months to try the glutathione. It's basically, to me, it's a financial decision. I mean, for the price of a cup of coffee nowadays, it's probably $5. You can do your X39 and Aeon for that amount. It's another $2 for the glutathione. Basically, if you can afford to do that, you should go ahead and do that. And I'll tell you this little story. When I first started doing this, a number of people that I deal with are in my generation. I'm 69, and some of them are on fixed incomes, and they were hesitant about the $5 or $7 a day. And I understand that, and I certainly respect that, their decision. But now what I tell people is, because they're asking me, they're like hesitant on a financial basis. I say, look, here's what I want you to do. For the next 60 days, I want you to skip 1 or 2 meals a day. It's called fasting. It won't hurt you. I don't care how skinny you are. You won't die. And your patches will be free because you're saving at least that much money. That's how passionate I am and confident about what these patches are doing. I'd recommend that for anybody, and I say especially if you're on a fixed income. There's nothing out there that's affordable as this. You go into the disease care system, which we have. I went to medical school thinking I was going to learn healthcare. I learned disease care. And thank God for that. If you break your leg or have a heart attack, don't come to me for natural alternatives. Get to the emergency room or, God forbid, the intensive care ward. But most of the time, there's a natural way. My 40 years have been spent getting people off pharmaceuticals when you can, and there's almost always a way to do it. Not always. There's certain situations where it's not even prudent, but most of the time you can. So this is just a powerful, another tool in your tool belt, along with the 10 keys that cure, to get and stay healthy and add years to your life as well as life to years. We can add years to your life with modern medicine, but it's not always life to your years. This, you get the best of both worlds.
Yes.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Dr. Don, so much for this. And I'm going to put your books up here. Do This and Live Healthy, 10 Simple Keys That Cure, and also 30 Quick Tips for Better Health. And those are available, I believe, on Amazon or wherever you buy books.
They're great.
Thank you. Great being with you here tonight. I really enjoyed it.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for being
Thank
here.
you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so grateful.
We appreciate it. And so for our audience, I want to let you know that our next, we have one more comment. Well, we're kind of running out of time.
The same three.
Huh?
The same three.
All right, we're going a little longer than we planned, but let me just throw this in here. Lynn Seminato was asking, someone with stage 4 cancer, what would you recommend?
I use the terrific trio. And of course, once again, we're not treating cancer, but what we're doing is giving you stem cells that can become T4 killer cells that go and eat abnormal growth. Aeon that keeps inflammation down, which you've got a ton of inflammation if you're stage 4 cancer, and then glutathione. You have a ton of toxins if you're stage 4 cancer. So the terrific trio, Beth is right. No matter what question you ask me, I'm going to give you the same answer. The terrific trio.
Lynn says thank you, and Mary also says thank you. This was so interesting. So again, thank you so much, Dr. Don. Our next month, oh gosh, these comments keep coming. Bridget is saying great explanations. Thank you so much. And Leanne is saying thank you so much. So I just want to let everyone know our next month's Longevity with Light webinar will be next month on December 11th, and the tiny URL is there for you to sign up. So do you ladies have anything else to share before we go?
No, this was great.
This was great, Dr. Don. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Don. We appreciate it. All right, everyone. Take care. Peace out. We'll see you next time.
Bye.